Fine. They're always going to the desert to.
Oh yes. Isn't that nice? How old are they now?
Boy, I am no good with ages. I think my dad's about 70.
70s, late 70s, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. They're fine. I'm glad.
Yeah.
They've had a long time with problems.
Yeah, they've been doing well. They love going to the desert and
That's fine.
breathing the clean air that's there.
Oh yes, that's nice. Up here, don't you think?
Yeah, we could do that. The light coming in the window will look nice.
And where would we put the other one? We wouldn't want to put it one, or would we put it over here?
We can put a picture there.
Yeah, we can put a picture there.
What I'll do is I'll just, after we're done, I'll hold up pictures and you can see what you like. I think they do need some light because they tend to get gray, a little bit gray with age.
Yeah.
We got you something here from
Thank you.
our family. Go ahead and open it. You don't have to wait
Okay,
till Santa Claus comes.
To Bradley, Alan, Janice, David. Oh, how nice that looks. I seems ashamed of. Yeah, but I will.
Yeah. Well, there are different kinds of people. Some people are the savers, and some people are the rip it up and throw it awayers.
I know.
We're
rip it up and throw it away.
We are rip it up.
He used to get so, kind of annoyed with me. He'd just say nothing, but he'd go ahead and put everything in the rubbish.
Yeah.
And I was too tired to do anything by then. I didn't care. If you wanted to do that, okay. Oh, Raffy, I miss you so terribly.
Yeah. There's a trash can right to your left if you need it.
Oh, there's your lovely picture. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Janny and you and the two children.
Yeah, this is our first
that's
decent
beautiful.
family picture.
Yes, now that will stand on my bureau, yes.
Okay.
On my dresser, yes. Oh, that's
we'll put it over here for now.
Why, I didn't realize she looked that old, dear child. Isn't she look cute? And goodness, David looks so old too.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Well, that's lovely.
David is hard to pick up now.
I bet he is.
I have to watch that he doesn't hurt my back.
Yes.
And Amy's getting that way too. The other night she wanted to jump on my back and it kind of gave me quite a start. Anyway, I wanted to ask you just a couple things. I don't know if you ever remember this, but we found this hand-carved wooden knife with WM on it, William Mitchell, I would think, in between pictures and stuff. And I don't
know where it ever came from.
Yeah,
I never remember seeing it, but I'd like to keep it.
Uh-huh.
Or I'd like to have you keep it.
Okay.
You can keep it.
Okay. I thought maybe Grampy carved it when he was a little guy.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I can't remember where it came from. Somebody carved it, sure.
I'll have to ask Grampy about that. And then I wanted to ask you about this picture. You could tell us the story behind that guy.
Well, he's the same guy you were talking about. He's the grandfather that you... Oh, you wanted... Well, he came over from, let's see, he came over from Scotland.
Oh.
He was Scotland. Grampy's people came from Scotland. Mother Mitchell's people came from Ireland, you see. And he came from Scotland as a young man. But he was related to those wealthy people that had that huge store.
The Sloans,
the Sloan.
W.J. Sloan.
He was a Sloan.
Oh.
And they immediately gave him a place in the store, and he became not a director. What would he be in the store? He had his name with, or not a trustee, but oh dear.
That was probably a manager of some kind.
Well, they all had the same name. And he became one of those, and I can't think of the word.
One of the vice presidents, maybe?
No, not one of the vice presidents. Now I can't think. Isn't that funny?
Well, that's okay.
That little word is slipped. But he became one of the officers, let's say, of the store.
Okay.
Let's say that. And then, but he wasn't satisfied with living in the city. He had a great job, but he wanted to have the farm. And he went to the farm, you see. He went and bought this land, and he was going to have a modern farm. He paid more for a bull than anyone had ever paid. He knew that paid to do it in the long run.
Oh.
And he had the most expensive bull in the U.S.
Whoa.
And he had a cow that gave the most milk one time in the U.S.
Huh.
The picture of the cow has been for years on those. I don't know why it's there on those packages of soda. that cow picture
Oh,
was
really?
from his farm.
Oh.
The kids were always tickled about that.
Huh.
That's their, they knew the name of it. I don't remember the name of the cow now.
Yeah.
I've forgotten.
That's okay.
But he was tremendously progressive. You see, he wanted to, he knew it paid to pay that tremendous price for the bull. Because then he'd have a whole lot of great stock. And he did. And he was doing so wonderfully when he had the accident. It was a shame.
Oh.
And then, of course, Daddy's father was out of a job because he was just doing the, well, he was just a sort of a general help, and he kept all the records and did all the business part. He was very good at that. Made out the checks for everybody, kept all the records of what everything cost, and on a farm, that is terribly important.
Oh, yeah.
He
You
did
have
that.
to
He was the
make money.
bookkeeper, let's say.
Oh.
He was the bookkeeper. So he was out of a job in his 40s,
Oh.
and that was pretty tough for him.
When this guy died,
Yeah.
it was in America with
yes.
with the plow then.
With the plow then, yes.
So he
did
saw
for some years at Sloan's. And he retired from Sloan's
Oh.
and bought this farm called Meadowbrook. That was the name of the farm, Meadowbrook. And it was in Dutchess County, New York.
Oh.
If you want to write that down, you can.
No, we've got it on tape.
We got it.
We've got it on tape.
Okay.
So we'll. But
He bought this farm, and
so
then
apparently there was a rock or something.
there was a big stone that the plow went right into. You couldn't just jab it through, and he didn't realize it. He was
Yeah.
one of those jab through people.
And that's a famous Mitchell quote, "Give me that plow."
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'll show you.
That describes.
Poor Greg. Poor old man, that was too
Yeah.
bad. He was doing so well. The whole farm was doing marvelously. He expected to have the best, he did at one time have the very best cow in the country.
Huh.
And they put that picture of that cow on those, why did they put them on those boxes of soda? I never understood, but that's where they were. That
Yeah,
was
it's
their
probably the
cow.
same type of cow,
Oh.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was their cow.
Huh.
They all knew it. They
So
knew
that's
the name of it.
that's where the bull then entered the Mitchell family, right? And I'll trace that to him.
And of course, Bill's father, for the rest of his life, talked about that farm. Those were his happiest days when he was on that farm with his father. No one could keep it going as his father could. They didn't have the mind that he had. He was a tremendous mind. He had everything mapped out that he was going to do. That was going to be the best farm in the U.S.
Oh.
Yes, that's what it was going to be. No less than that.
Huh.
He was tremendously ambitious. And he could do it. He was very, very bright. He kept up with all that, and that's what fascinated him. Yep.
I wanted to ask questions, ask you some questions that were just kind of maybe scattered, no particular order,
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you when, I mentioned one earlier, when was, or not when, but you remember the circumstances when you met Grampy? Was it love at first sight, or did you?
No, I knew him for years.
Oh.
I knew him slightly. I mean, as slightly as you know somebody. No, I knew him for years. Evie kept telling me, I met Evie, and I was terribly shy. Our family never entertained. I didn't know how to introduce people. I just felt so, I can't tell you, so scared of any encounter. Evie kept saying, I want you to come over and meet my mother. Evie was sweet. The very first day of school, she saw me looking so scared. I wasn't a freshman, I was a sophomore, and everybody knew everybody, and I didn't know anybody.
Oh.
And Evie came in the room and she said, hi over there. And I never forgot it.
Oh.
It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
I was so scared at the time.
Yeah.
I was so poorly dressed. We were so poor.
Yeah.
And that was a rich high school. That wasn't an easy thing going into. My
Oh.
mother never understood that.
Oh.
But it was terribly difficult. And what I did right away was get a job taking care of a baby in the afternoons.
Oh.
So I could get some decent clothes. I didn't have any.
That was in New York then?
No, this was in Ridgewood.
Oh, in Ridgewood?
In Ridgewood, yes. I got a job afternoons taking care of children.
Oh.
And then later, I worked at the Herald all through school. Because I had to have money, that was all. There wasn't any available for clothes ever.
Sure. I have, it must be Evie's high school yearbook,
Yes.
which was in things, I
Did it
have
have
to
my
bring.
picture in it?
I didn't see yours. I'll have to bring it to show you,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was a unique book because it was a generic type of book, and you cut out pictures and glued them in for
Oh,
your.
that wasn't the book I meant.
your
Yeah,
book.
well, I didn't know that book at all.
Oh, okay. I'll have to show you that one.
Yeah, all right.
But it was Evie's, I believe.
Yes. Oh, my poor
So,
Evie.
so you meant that was
So,
Evelyn, Bill's sister,
Bill's sister,
right?
and we were both sophomores. And then the first 4 days I had eaten alone. I didn't know anybody in the school, of course. I was entering as a sophomore, and they all knew each other. I didn't.
Yes.
But then I sat next to Maddie Pierce in history, and I sat next to someone else, and they had a whole group together, and they invited me to join that group. So really, I had friends right from the beginning.
Oh, good.
And then Emmy kept saying, my mother wants to meet you. I guess her mother just wanted to know who she was going with. Her mother was very careful. And so she kept, I was scared to meet her mother. That's that ridiculous. But, so I kept putting her off. And then one day she caught me. She was so smart. She said, what train are you taking? And I said, oh, I've got time today. I'm not taking one. Well, then you've got time to meet my mother. I taking one till later. So I couldn't say I wouldn't meet her mother. And I went over shaking.
Yeah.
And her mother was so sweet to me. And she said, Bill has just painted the kitchen, and I want you to see it. He did a lovely job.
Oh.
The kitchen was about as, well, it wasn't as high, but it was very high, much higher than most kitchens. Big job.
Oh.
And he was home from college, and he had painted the whole thing white for his
Oh.
mother. And then she called Bill in to meet me. So that's how I met Bill.
Oh.
I met him early on. I always knew him. And then Mary and Ev just talked about him endlessly. Where he did so well in college, you know. He was always at the top of the class. He was always doing something great. And all through lunch periods, all through high school, I heard all about his exploits. I remember thinking one time, I don't suppose he'd ever look at a girl like me.
Oh.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would see him when he was home from college? And
Well, I didn't very much because his mother wasn't inviting me around then. He got, let's see, he got out of college at 20.
Oh.
He was only 20, he wasn't even 21. And the telephone company had been going around to all the technical schools talking to their top people, and he was hired before he ever graduated, months before.
Oh.
So then he went to the telephone company. And this is the saddest thing. He had a father who pretended to be very fierce. Now, Kyler always realized it was a lot of jumbo, that he wasn't that way at all. But Daddy never did. He was very gentle, and he was very good about his parents. Whatever they said, he did. He never, I can't think he ever defied them. I can't believe it. And his father, of course, married at 45, and they bought that more or less old house that always needed repair of some kind, you know how a house does.
Oh, yes.
And his father was no good at that at all.
Oh.
But both boys were wonderful. And he'd get, mostly Bill, because Carter was 5 years younger. He'd get Bill to do repair. It seemed to me a sad thing that as he went through school, he never had time to play. He couldn't be on a ball team, he couldn't do that. He worked on Saturday all day for his father. The girls helped their mother in the morning and they were through, but he worked all day. And he worked after school when he was all in high school, all the time. And that his father had a little vegetable garden in back, and he worked in that. And he worked keeping the place up, repairing everything.
Wow.
And he never had time to play. He liked to have been on a ball team. He never had time. He wasn't given time. He just got into that work thing. And then when he graduated from high school, his father got him a job at, who's this rich man? I don't know. He had a tremendous farm up in Harriman, New York, where they used to go for the summer. He got him a job working there. So he worked all summer, every summer, the last 2 years of high school, the 4 years of college. And he earned enough for his clothing and his books. And then his parents paid for his tuition. And I believe they paid for his car fare. He had to go into Hoboken every day. He commuted with his father. His father was getting old and shaky then, and he used to walk into his office and then go back to where he went. They both were in Hoboken, so they went in together. And then he graduated, of course, with honors. He was the third in his class, in a big class in college.
Oh.
153.
What college was that?
Stevens Institute.
Oh.
And that was a wonderful thing he found out here, that they had a Stevens group, and they were all different ages, all different classes. Oh, nobody ever enjoyed anything more than Daddy enjoyed that. They'd have these luncheons, these dinners. I didn't go to any of them. I didn't want to. I wasn't up to going out then with a lot of strange people. I just couldn't do it. I just got too exhausted. And, oh, but how he enjoyed it. He did enjoy that. The last of his life was just tremendous with all the Stevens business. He got to meet the new president of Stevens, who saw that he was sitting down, sat and talked to him for half an hour. And, he really had a great time.
When was Grampy's earliest interest in the organ? Was that from a child?
As a child. He used to sneak over from his house. His house was like this, and here was the church. Just down that street and up this street, and there was the church. He'd sneak in if it was open and practice on the organ.
Oh, I see.
He just adored the organ from the moment he met it in church.
Huh.
It was just love at first sight. Crazy about it.
But he loved you more than the organ, right? I hope so.
Different kind of love.
Yeah, it's different, yeah.
Then Grampy was a person who didn't really understand much about people. Boy, he was taken in by a lot of people because he just didn't. And he went, when he graduated from college, he didn't date all through college because he thought it wouldn't be fair to his family. They were having a struggle getting him through. He thought he shouldn't take the money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't. But he thought when he got a job, he wanted to date. And he went to they used to have a junior Epworth League, big, what do you call it? Well, when they have it for a whole week somewhere, you know, and they had leaders and special speeches and all that kind of thing. He went there. And that's where he got interested in Mildred Humphreys, who was 4 years younger than he.
Oh.
And she was a jolly kid. She put him through terrible things. She was terrible to him. She was really cruel to him many times. And he just stood it. He didn't complain. He just put up with it. He thought, well, right from the beginning, I mean, after a few dates, he asked her to marry him, which was ridiculous. I mean, he should have known her better, but he didn't. And, she did the weirdest things. She took advantage of him because she saw that he was inept in relationships. He didn't know what to do. He never had time, you see, to date or to have friends or anything. His father kept him working. He didn't have any boyfriends, really. He didn't have time to.
Yeah.
She'd do things like, he told him she'd be at Harriman one time, and would he come up and get her? And then when he got up there, she wasn't there. She thought that was funny. I mean, she did funny things like that. And she was constantly telling him he was homely. She told him that over and over. Oh, she was really awfully cruel to him.
Yeah.
She took advantage of him in every way possible, and he thought, well, he already asked her to marry him. There was nothing he could do. He figured everything would straighten out when they got married. That's how little he knew about life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do that. It gets worse. But he didn't know that. And then finally, she decided that she was going to Europe with her mother. Her mother was going to England. Her mother was English, and she was going to take her one summer. And she decided, she said to him, I don't think we should get married anyway. We fight all the time. And they did, constantly. Never agreed on. They'd gotten to the point, they'd been engaged about 3 years and gotten to the point where they never agreed on anything. And so she gave him back his ring and said, let's call it off. I'm not going to England as an engaged girl. I'll have no fun. I want to have fun. Yeah.
That's great.
So he was, Abby said he thinks his heart is broken, but it isn't, he said. She said, he'll get over her.
He'll get over
She
her.
was no good for him anyway. Mother and father didn't like him at all. They thought she put it over on him terribly.
Yeah.
He was such a gentle, sweet kid, you know. He never protested.
I wanted to trace. You were talking about the fact that he would sneak over to play the organ.
When he was just a kid.
But his folks, did he learn to play organ at home before that, or was that?
He'd had a few piano lessons. That's
Oh,
all he
I
ever
see.
had, just a few.
Oh.
He and Mary shared this one teacher for an hour.
Oh.
A few weeks. That's all it was.
Yeah.
They just couldn't afford it finally, and they
Sure.
didn't go ahead with it.
So then, from that organ,
That organ,
did he in his mind say one day he was going to own one, or?
Yes, he did.
Oh.
And he got so proficient that he could play for the Sunday school,
Huh.
and they were glad to have him. you know,
Sure.
Bill was one of those, I remember Mary saying they couldn't run the Methodist church without Bill. He's the one that puts the flag up for Flag Day, he's the one that does this, he's always called on to do this, that, and the other, and he did it. And he got so he could play for the different groups, and they were glad to have him. They're always glad to have a player. He just learned it himself, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then when you two got married, you lived in New York for a while?
We lived in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Got an apartment in Brooklyn. We didn't want everybody telling us how to live.
Sure.
So we'd get away from them and live in Brooklyn. We
Yeah.
did.
And so then, what was, you moved to...
The way I met him, the way I really met him was this. It was funny. I'd spoken to him all these years, but Bill never paid much attention to people, wasn't too interested in people. He didn't notice people much. But I was supposed to meet Evie there one time. We hadn't seen each other in a long time, and she said, and I had often spent the night with her. Her mother had had me spend the night so I could do things with her in Ridgewood. She sure saw I didn't get any much fun out of life. She said to me, I know you work, I know you teach in Sunday school, I know you're in school, when do you have fun? And I said, practically never. And she said, well, you're going to have fun here.
Good. Good for her.
So she would invite me over for dinner all the time, and then we
Yeah.
could go to the girls' club or something nice like that, and then I'd stay all night and then go right to school the next day with Evie.
Oh.
And my mother came over and met her and realized she was a lady and a wonderful person, and she let me do that. And that was awfully nice, so I got to know Bill that way. They were
Yeah.
always talking about him in high school. Mary and Ev just constantly talked about what Bill had done. Bill was the star of the family, you know.
Yeah.
Bill had done this and Bill had done that. He almost got to be, what is the one that gives a speech at graduation? There was 3 of them that were tops.
Valedictorian.
Valedictorian. And instead of just having the one that had the highest record, they were also close within a point or two. They had them all try out, and Bill didn't do too well in that tryout, so he didn't get the chance, and one of the others did. We heard all this at high school. For years I heard about what Bill had done. You know, he put up there like I don't know what you call it, something wonderful. And then I stopped in to see Evie one time. She said we were going to work then. We never got to see each other much. And she said, why don't you stop in and at least spend the night, and then you can go right to, I worked in Ridgewood, and I'll go into New York, and we'll at least get caught up on things.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped in, and there was Bill all alone. And I thought, oh boy, here's my chance to find out how radio works. I didn't know anyone that could tell me, and I was couldn't understand how music could come and hear it. I was just fascinated with the whole thing, but I couldn't understand it. So I asked him, and I could understand his explanation. I couldn't have given it to anyone else, but I could understand it.
Great.
And then Evie came along, we went on upstairs, and I said, well, I hope Mildred realizes what a bright man she's getting. Boy, Bill is so smart. And she said, well, she doesn't, because they've broken the engagement. She's giving him back the ring.
So Grammy made her moves right there.
Grammy made her move right there. I didn't have to. He came up to see me. He made his move.
I see.
He could see I had respect for what he knew. And Mildred never did. I did. And
that's wonderful.
First thing I knew, it was an unbelievable day. The snow, I wasn't going to work for some reason. I don't know why, but I wasn't, or school or anything. I guess maybe there were trains weren't running. The snow was just a tremendous amount. It was way up like this in front of the houses. And my mother said, I've got to clean today. And I said, well, I'll help you. You take the upstairs, I'll take the downstairs, and we'll do it. And I said, nobody will ever come to see us today. So while we were finishing, I was still in my cleaning clothes. I look out, and here's Bill stamping along.
Oh, my goodness.
He had pneumonia. Do you think that had stopped him? He had gotten out and shoveled the place in front of the garage where he had his car. He got his car out. He got it as far as the neighbors. Then he had to stalk up there with him. The first time he went out after pneumonia. I said, boy, he needs someone to take care of him. Golly, he doesn't have the sense of a baby. Gee, I was afraid he'd just die right there. Wow.
That's funny.
It is funny.
Where did you get married? In Ridgewood?
No, we got married at the little church around the corner in New York. I didn't want to get married at his church, and I didn't like my church in Wyckoff. And so that's where we got married. And we just got married. We didn't have any kind of anything. I couldn't afford anything.
So then you moved to Brooklyn, and then...
Then we had our apartment in Brooklyn for 2 years. And then Mary asked if we'd come and keep house. I'd come and keep house for Father for a while.
This is Mary,
his sister.
His sister Mary.
Yeah, she had been keeping house for Father since her mother died.
Oh.
She asked if I would do it for a while so she could take this course. Oh, my God.
Okay, we'll pause here. Okay. You were just telling me...
Oh, about Bill coming in the snow.
Bill coming in the snow, and did he didn't have to have snowshoes on or anything, did he? He was actually able to get his car out and...
Well, he couldn't leave it at our house. He had to leave it down the street. He couldn't come up at all.
Quite a trek then.
That never even been opened.
Yeah.
He came with his... Oh, I couldn't believe it. I dashed upstairs and combed my hair, put on another dress, washed my hands, and I was downstairs to meet him at the door.
Was your mom pretty impressed by that? That he would come over, or was she worried about his...
She didn't want me to get married at all.
Oh.
She wanted me to stay home with her.
Oh.
Which isn't really...
To take care of her. Yeah.
Well, she had a husband still, you know. She wasn't alone.
Oh.
And I always promised her when she was alone I'd take care of her, which I did for 2.5 years in our home.
Right.
And, but she was a terribly possessive person.
Oh.
She didn't want me to marry at all.
Huh.
She wanted me to stay home with her. A lot of mothers are that way with their daughters.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them.
That's interesting.
But she knew she was done for when Bill came along, because I've been talking about him for years. About how great he was, you know, the things he'd done. And, oh my. She knew she was done for when she saw everyone, if anyone else, a few people had come to see me. Boy, she had sharp criticisms of him, but she had nothing, she couldn't criticize Bill in any way.
Oh.
She didn't. She never did. But she always insisted she never liked him. Well, I knew she wouldn't like him. I didn't expect her to.
Yeah.
But she was very good about entertaining him. When we started, we got engaged almost right away. Bill wanted to get engaged, and we did. Golly, I couldn't believe my good luck, I'll tell you. I couldn't believe it. When you admired someone like that from a distance for years, you can't believe your good luck, and that's how I felt all the time. But we talked it over, and we decided we'd be engaged 9 months. We both had to save money. I had to save money to pay all my expenses for the wedding, such wedding as it was. It wasn't a wedding, but, you know, there were expenses.
Sure.
And he had to save money for our honeymoon. So we decided we'd get married in 9 months, and we did.
And where did you go on your honeymoon?
Oh, we went all over. We went to New York, we went to Philadelphia, we went down south a little. We just went all around. Those days you could.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so different from now. There weren't all these toll things. It was all absolutely different. There weren't the massive cars that there are now.
Right.
Not at all. And his good old red car.
What kind of car was your
It was that good kind that he always wanted. He never got a new one of it, but he always wanted it. Now I can't.
It was a red car, huh?
Yeah.
Now, what year was that?
1926.
26, okay.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of some of Grampy's cars, but this one wasn't a 26. It was probably model...
it was an old model.
Model T or A.
Oh, no, it wasn't a Model T.
Oh.
It was what is that good kind of car? But an old one of that.
Yeah.
It was a good kind, but old.
So he was a pretty sporty guy to have a red car at that...
Yeah, wasn't he?
At that
at that
time.
Yeah.
Just previously, everything was black. Any color as long as it was black from Henry Ford.
Yes. Well, that's...
So his famous saying was.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Any colors will look.
And then Grampy had, didn't he have a motorcycle?
He did at one time. His mother was awfully worried about it, and they are.
All mothers are worried about motorcycles.
Of course they are. And then he had a chance to get the car, and I guess she was glad that he changed to the car. She thought it was a lot safer. And he used to take Mary and Adam and his mother out, and father, you know, a lot before we got engaged. They had fits when we got engaged. Mary was just stormed all around. She wasn't pleased at all.
Oh. But wasn't there somebody who did bicycles in the family? Or who made bicycles or something like that?
I don't remember anything about bicycles in the family.
Okay, I'm not clear on that either.
It's another family, so it's not our family.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. So then from Brooklyn, you moved to New Jersey?
Yes, we didn't even live in that apartment the last, well, it would have been through the summer. It was awfully hot. We just left it. because Mary wanted to go to Boston for this course, and so we took some of our stuff and moved up in Grampy's house, and we lived there for a couple of years. Now, Grampy had been following this whole business about Radburn for years. It was a new town for the motor age and everything. Everything was different. It was built right near us, you see, in Ridgewood.
I see.
And we kept going to see it while it was being built.
Oh.
So then when we felt it was time for us to get out, it's pretty hard for people like Mary and me to both run a house. And Mary wanted to be free, but she also wanted to run everything.
Yeah.
And, that's a difficult thing. It's very difficult.
Well, so you moved to...
So then we bought a house in Radburn.
In Radburn.
She went back and took care of her father until he had the stroke. And then she couldn't work and take care of him. And he had the stroke at our house. He had come over for a little few-day visit, and he wanted to walk around, and I had his arm, and he said, "Grace, I'm having a stroke."
Oh.
I said, "Gee, I don't think, can you know about it?" "Well, I know. I had one before. I'm having a stroke."
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I said, "We better get you to lie down then, don't you think?" He said, "Yes, I do." So I walked him right into the guest room where he was to be for the weekend, and he had his stroke. He was right.
Oh.
And I was very lucky. I called this friend of mine who had been a nurse. I knew she always knew about nurses. She said, "I just know one that's gone off, and she's wonderful. I think you can get her. I'll get her for you if you want." So she got her. Her name was Miss Space, and Lulu Space. And she was marvelous for his father, but he didn't appreciate her. He was a person who always complained. And he'd complain and he'd fire her, and she'd be out in the hall crying, and I'd rehire her. Oh, we had a time. Bill didn't even know about that. I never told him.
Yeah.
I didn't want to worry him.
So in...
and then he'd settle down, Father would. He'd know that I was the boss right there, and he couldn't do anything. So he'd settle down, be very polite and nice for a while.
The first house that any organ went in, was that Radburn? Or
Yes, he had a small organ.
Small organ, but he didn't...
It wasn't attached or anything.
Okay, he didn't attach it to the house
No.
permanently.
No.
And then when you went to
And then when we went to
your next house...
Ridgewood, he started building that.
What did you think when Grampy cut a hole in the second story
Well, I always told him he could do anything he wanted
to
in
fit
the house with the organ.
Oh,
I
you weren't...
felt that was important to him.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
I was wondering if you were going to be worried that
No, I wasn't worried.
This huge organ that was going through 2 floors.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't worry. I had always told him he could do anything he wanted. The sad thing about Grampy's career, he did well in the telephone company. He was promoted and paid more again and again and again. But the sad thing was he wasn't doing the work he wanted because he wasn't able to speak up and say so. When they appointed him to this kind of work, they gave them a 3-month, what's that word when you get someone in?
A probationary?
Yes.
Probationary period?
Yes, period, to teach them what they wanted. And Grampy realized that wasn't the area that he was interested in. He was interested in what they called they used to call it
research and development.
Research and development.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, and he didn't have the courage to speak up and say, that's where I should be. He just didn't. He was assigned to this, so he took it. Because that's the way he'd always been with his father. Whatever he gave him to do, he did.
I see.
And I didn't know this until years later. I didn't know that. Golly, I was always able to, because of the situation I'd had home that I deplored, when I was out, I was able to stand up for myself. When the music teacher made me sing and all the kids laughed, I put up with that about 2 times, and I said, I'm not going to put up with that anymore.
Sure.
And when he asked me to sing, I said no.
Yeah.
He said, what? You said no? Yes, that's what I said, no. The kids were all sitting there amazed, you know. In those days, kids didn't do that.
Right.
And he said, you march to the principal. I said, gladly. I'll tell him that he shouldn't ask anybody to sing when they can't sing, and everybody laughs at them. I'll tell him.
Good.
And as I went upstairs, I got madder and madder. I burst into that principal's office, and I found later he was a political appointee. He wasn't really a scholar at all. And I said to him, I think it's a rotten thing to ask a child to get up and sing knowing that the whole class will laugh at me. I won't do it anymore. I don't care what you say or anyone says.
Yeah.
Oh, he said, Grace, sit down, calm down, calm down. You don't have to do anything that's going to hurt you. Calm down.
Oh boy.
But you see, Daddy wasn't able to stand up for himself ever. It was sad.
Yeah.
It was really sad. So he did that work. I didn't realize that Gordy knew. I don't know how he knew, but he never liked his job. He never did.
Yeah.
And that was a sad thing. If he just spoken up, he could have been in that development in Brest, and he could have done wonders in it. That was his expertise.
Yeah.
Not development.
Research.
Dream and rest.
Well, research.
Research and development.
Development.
They used to call it the dream and rest.
Oh.
That's what they used to call it.
Oh yeah. So when you were in Ridgewood, what prompted your next move? I mean, you had the organ was built in, and Grampy had it apparently working in your house there.
Well, then we came out to see the kids in California.
It was the
And
weather.
we fell in love with California. And being near the kids.
Yeah.
All our kids were here. Keith was here then too, in his house.
So that was when he was
He
at
was with
MGM?
Rosie, living in that beautiful home that he had. I don't know whether you've ever seen it.
No.
It was a beautiful
We're going to have
home.
to.
Well, he was there. We didn't know that they weren't getting along at all. We didn't know that. So,
So it was it like a mutual decision to move to California? The reason I'm asking you that is Grampy would, from Grampy's point of view, I would see this massive undertaking of moving the organ.
Well, we kept talking about it. Grampy and I were fortunate in always being able to sit down and talk quietly about what we wanted to do. We never battled, ever. We talked about it. And we talked one night, almost half the night. We got thinking of what we'd have if we stayed in Ridgewood. We had all kinds of connections there. I was teaching a group of boys English. I don't know. We were just in the town very much. We were in that church, doing a lot in the church. And then what we'd have out here, and which would be the best. And we thought at our ages we would be smarter to come to California.
And that was around?
That was when Daddy had just retired. He was 65, I was 63.
I see.
And for the first time, we were free to pick out where we would live. Before that, we had to live near the telephone company.
Sure.
You know, that was his job all those years.
Yeah.
We could have lived in Connecticut, we could have lived in Brooklyn or any of those places, but had to be within commuting distance.
Sure. So then you, from what I've heard, you got a big, massive truck, and it was mostly pipe organ.
Daddy got 2 trucks, and he wanted to drive them out, and I didn't want him to. That one time we disagreed, but fortunately they didn't allow people that hadn't driven before.
Oh, right. You need the right.
Don't forget.
Yeah, he's 65 and he wanted to drive the big rig.
To California. Well, they wouldn't let him. Oh, I'm so relieved. I didn't have to fight about it, but I would have fought.
That's great. That's the give me that plow syndrome, isn't it? A little bit. I'll drive the truck.
Yes. Brady was a wonderful person. He was just so wonderful. But he was always so gentle and good. And we always talked things over. We never had battles the way Karen says they fight continually, he and Marilyn, and have for years. They seem to thrive on it.
Well, some people fight differently, I think, too. Some people have the quietly aggressive, and other people let it fly.
Yeah, they let it fly. They just scream and yell at each other.
Sure.
Oh, that horrifies us. We never did that.
Yeah. So then you were lucky enough to find Buddy Cole's house in North Hollywood.
I found it.
You found it.
I decided we better move out there, so I better look first and have something to present. So I went to, the day that Daddy went to Keith's group, he went to Keith's group where they were rehearsing, and Keith gave him an instrument, and he walked in with the musicians. He wasn't supposed to bring guests. He just had an instrument.
I've gotten into many a jazz club that way.
Yeah.
With Red.
That's how he does it.
That's how he learned it.
Yes.
Okay.
And Gordy kept inviting me over, and I said, no, I got something I want to do. And I went to a real estate place, and I said, we haven't decided to move out to California, but I think we will. And I want to see some houses. But of course, we've got to have a funny kind of place because we have an organ. And they said, oh, we have a house that has a studio for an organ.
Oh, my goodness.
You do? A whole studio outside? Oh, yes. Oh, that's great. So they showed it to me. And then I took it to show Daddy. We hadn't gotten really into thinking about it. We were kind of shocked when the man called and said, remember, Mrs. Mitchell, this is the day you made a date to go see that house with the Oh, that's right, I did. Well, we can go, we're not doing anything. We'll be ready in 5 minutes or so, we can go. And we went, but we hadn't really gotten into thinking about it seriously.
Yeah. And now, did Buddy Cole have an organ?
Oh, yes.
He had a theater organ then, I guess.
Yes, but he had what Daddy calls the toy counter.
Uh-huh.
A whole lot of funny little
That's
things.
a theater organ. It makes
Theater
weird
organ,
noises
words, yes,
and sound effects.
Not a church organ, it's
Right.
quite different.
You wouldn't want to play a theater organ in church, I don't think.
The toy counter, that,
Yeah.
he was very scornful of it.
Huh.
Yeah, but he realized that the setting was great for an organ. He had no place to put it in the house, in any house, you know,
Uh-huh.
then, so it was just
Had he been saving up pipes over the years?
yes, he had,
Because he has, I think, 3,000 pipes in the organ
you know.
right now, and
I know.
I don't think they would have fit in New Jersey.
No, they wouldn't, they
house
would have
in
fitted here if he'd ever had a chance, time to finish them,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's an
Well, he had
amazing feat.
great dreams, Daddy did, didn't he?
What I want to do,
But he did get the organ playing and enjoying
Oh,
it,
sounds
he did
great.
that.
I want to walk through there with my camcorder, my video
Oh, yes.
recorder, to just enable a person to visually not only see the outside, but go into the
Oh,
the
yes.
organ. It's a massive amount of pipes in these rooms.
Oh, yes, I know. Alan, would you want to hand me that water over there? I can
Sure.
use that, that'll be fine. My throat's pretty dry. Thank you.
There you go.
That's great.
We can stop and take a break if you want. Would you like
Let's take a
to?
small one.
Sure.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do, Grammy,
Yeah.
was maybe have you read what you wanted, whatever poems that you wrote, if you could read them the way they should be read. You know, if you
My
could,
voice isn't what it was.
well,
now.
that's fine.
It is-
But nothing is better than seeing the author,
Mhm.
you know, doing her own works.
Yeah, I didn't know you knew these little books. Oh, I got this published when we've been married 49 years.
49 years.
Yeah, that's the time I published this little thing.
Oh my
Got
goodness.
this little done.
Maybe you could read us your favorite ones or
All
whatever.
right, if you want to.
Snow?
Sure.
Sure, it's up to you.
You see my dedication? Dedicated to my warm, witty, and wonderful husband of 49 years, Billy D., who, like Stevenson's wife, has a love that life could never tire.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's okay.
I can't do that now.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, if you want to read,
I don't know. that
what
I
about
can.
somebody else,
Yeah.
or what about the rebellious redhead, age 4? I have a couple of redheads, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you want to read that one?
Read those.
Okay, just,
Keith, rebellious redhead, age 4. Keith was a problem. Keith was a worry. Keith had been mad and sad and bad. Keith would not mind, and Keith could not hurry. Keith did not care about fuss or flurry. Keith was impossible, and he was glad. White and set, he stood firm to defy. Parents lined up like a firing squad. His freckles glimmered like stars in the sky. I know I've been bad, a little, I try. Would you all please remember that I'm not God? He did say that.
He did say that.
Yes, he did.
So he said that, and that gave you the
That gave
the
me the
thought.
idea for the poem.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't always rebellious. That was at a certain time, right? That's what your poem is about?
Well, he was always rebellious.
Oh, okay.
I might as well make the record straight. He
Yeah,
was
let's-
always, he
Okay.
kept right on through his teenage years and all of them.
Who is the little questioner? Is that your?
Oh, that was a little neighbor
Little-
boy that died.
Oh,
We got
okay.
a little boy named David,
Ah,
and he got one of these terrible illnesses and just died in a couple of days. It
Oh.
was terribly shocking in Radburn with all the children. And those people only had that one child, and they were rather elderly. It was terrible.
and Peggy Wood was
My
your
cat.
cat, but
Yes.
you named
I named
your cat after the
Peggy Wood,
actress.
the actress, yes.
Uh,
Can I read that?
Sure, it's up to you. Whatever ones you feel.
Short ears, poetry for Peggy Wood, portrait. Short ears alert, great eyes of green, her coat a shadowy silver sheen, My Peggy is a Persian beauty, and this she understands as duty. With feline grace and waving plume, she stalks into the living room and leaps upon the TV set to settle down, a gorgeous pet. With care tucks in each ermine paw, and sheathes each sharp, reluctant claw. Ensconced upon her lofty station, she gives herself to contemplation. A picture of a fancy cat, indubitably aristocrat.
That was later a Walt Disney cartoon about cats called Aristocats.
Oh,
it was kind of a play upon that word. Tell me about when we got together at your house on Gentry Avenue.
Oh, yes. We had been looking for you for 10 years, and yes, 10 years. And the people at the church were very interested. They were always asking me, have you found your grandson? And I say, no, we haven't. Have you given up? No, I'll never give up, never. And we just decided we'd keep on looking. It was up to God. If He wanted us to find you, we'd find you, and that was it. And I kept praying that if it was His will, we found you, and you found us, and we got together. And at the same time, it was a big surprise when you knocked at the door and said to Daddy, "Are you Mr. William Mitchell?" And he said, "Yes." "Well, I think I'm your grandson," you said.
I was, what I remember, well, we knocked on the door.
The kitchen door.
We first knocked on the living room door, and it said, invalids sleeping, please don't disturb. And we thought, well, we drove all the way out here.
But it said a special time, though. It said,
between some hours, I think.
Yes, between some hours. This was in the morning when you came.
I believe so.
Yes, it was. It was around 10:30.
Oh, okay.
Or 10:30, something like that. I was just going to get dressed. I'd been fooling around in my bathrobe.
I knocked on the door, and I asked Grampy, I said, "Are you William Mitchell?"
Yes.
And it was like a man in his 80s. I mean,
Yes.
looking at myself,
Yes,
only
sure.
in my 80s. And he said yes, and he was rather formal, as if I was going to get ready to sell him something, you know. And then I said, "I'm your grandson," and his eyes just got as big as saucers, and
Yes.
I thought, boy, this is a shock to the system for him, you know. And he said, "Oh, come in, we've been..."
I heard him saying, "Come in,
Come in, we've been looking for you for years,"
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, we had.
And you weren't there in the
No, I
room
was
at
in
the
my room
time.
getting dressed.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did you think? What was your first thought?
Oh, hooray. First thought was, hooray, this is wonderful. It's finally happened. It's finally happened. You've come to the door and we're going to know you. That's what we wanted to do. We couldn't give up on it. We just couldn't. Daddy, a lot of times, didn't think we ought to go ahead with it because he was thinking of your parents, that they'd feel upset about it. And I kept feeling about you that you must want to know where you came from. I just understood that. I'd read a lot about people finding their relatives, and I knew that was a strong urge with people.
Yeah.
And I'm telling that. Alan has a right to know where he came from. We knew your name, you see. We spoke of you as Alan all the time.
Oh,
We didn't know how
not
to
Glenn.
spell.
Not Glenn. You
Oh,
just
no,
knew Alan.
we knew Alan.
Oh.
Yes. And we didn't know how to spell. It could have been A-L-A-N or A-L-L-E-N or the way it was, A-L-L-A-N. We didn't know that.
You know, my first impression of you was you looked just the opposite from what I thought you would look.
Oh, really?
Because you had made inquiries to the county
Yes.
about me, and
Yes.
there was like a persistent
Yes.
thing of, you know, make
Yes.
sure Alan is doing well, or some kind of inquiries, and it was over a period of time. So I thought, you know how you get these funny pictures in your head. I thought it would be someone who was a real big lady, who was very determined, and was pretty tough, you know.
Well, I was
and
determined.
it was a little lady who was very determined and pretty tough. You know, I just,
Yes.
you know,
I know.
that's a funny
I know.
thought.
It's a
That,
funny thing, yes.
and you know, we had little.
You know, Daddy was so reluctant about it. He thought it was almost wrong for us to find you. And we couldn't. That's the thing we couldn't agree on. But as I've told you, we always were able to talk. We talked and talked and talked about it. He finally said, well, I can see you're not going to give it up, so I'll help you. And I said, I think you'll be glad if you do. And oh, he was so terribly glad. Daddy was always worried about hurting someone else. But I said, you have to realize that Alan is now a young man. He's not a child, and he has a right to know. And we have a right to know him. It's different. When he was a child, it would have been wrong to have hunted him up. But it's different now. He's an adult.
Yeah.
He's 18, 19.
I think the timing was very good.
Timing was very good.
Because I can see Grampy's point of view.
Yes.
The adoption rights people tell you
Exactly.
that all reunions are perfect. They say 90% success rate, this and that. I don't really believe it. There are a lot of people who aren't ready for that. They're not old enough.
Yeah.
But in our case, with Janice being pregnant with David at the time, that also brought up the genetic questions that every parent goes through. You know, you don't know, does insanity run in the family? We found out it does, you know. But no, I'm just kidding. But you know, you don't know. You don't know if there's genetic diseases or what you should be looking for, and it has really helped out.
Yeah.
So it was. I remember the day we got together. Gordon was in town, and we called Gordon, or you called Gordon.
I called Gordon.
He came over.
He came over with
Michelle, I believe it was.
It was, yes. She was a little kid, but she was interested, yes.
Yeah.
And Marilyn had just been doing that big show.
The Women in Show Business show.
She was exhausted. She was chairman of it, and she was exhausted, so she didn't come. But Karen and her boyfriend, I don't think it was this boy, it was another one, were at Disneyland. We couldn't reach them. But we did reach Leslie. Didn't Leslie come? No, Leslie didn't come.
I think Leslie came over, yeah.
Oh, I guess she did. Yes.
It was interesting because we had not expected much to happen when we drove to your house, actually, because we had called your phone, and apparently it was during your nap time the previous day. We had received no answer, so we figured the phone was broken.
Oh, yes.
Or people weren't there anymore, and so we didn't know what to expect.
We turned the phone off when we took a nap.
Right. And then when we first met you, you were talking about Keith to Grampy, and we were sitting there looking at each other, and we finally asked, "Who's Keith?" You know, because then it was because we didn't know any names. And,
no, that's right, you didn't.
But it was quite enlightening to see where I get traits that I'm just born with.
Well, you look so much like him. It was just like a younger edition of Keith. It's just amazing. Your red hair, too.
Yeah.
My golly, and your blue eyes, and your eyebrows and eyelashes, just the same color as Keith's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
mustache was the only difference.
Oh,
Did you have a mustache then?
I think I did.
I think you did.
I think
that was the only difference.
Because I grew a mustache when we were married a few months. Janice and I both got chicken pox, and I couldn't shave for a long time.
Oh, yes.
We were just, I had the worst case. I was walking around, I couldn't touch anything because of itch. And so that was shortly after we were married in '76.
Yeah.
But anyway. Okay, well, I'll take a pause here. What I wanted to ask you, Grammy, was how are things now? We've been talking about the past. I know that today we're going to be hanging some pictures. How are things going here?
Well, things are going very well here. I'm getting adjusted to it. It's quite a change for me from anything I've ever done.
Sure.
But I've always enjoyed people so much, and there are so many people here to talk to. It's always fun to be here. And I also enjoy not having to cook after 67 years of getting meals. And I really didn't want to do any more. It's wonderful to just walk down to your meal, not have to cook it or clean it up or anything. It's just great. Yeah. And the people here are very caring people. They do try to make you comfortable and do what they should do to take care of you. They really do. And so I'm adjusting to it very well, I think.
That's good.
And enjoying it, really enjoying it, and thinking, really, this is probably about the best place for me. because I don't want to keep house, and I wouldn't want to spend the money to have a house and someone just to take care of me, and be with one person all the time. This is a lot more fun to be with a lot of people.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That is healthy, and I'm going to try to teach Labak here. The Spanish boys want to learn Labak.
Oh.
And I was a Labak teacher. I don't know, because I'm a lot older than I was then. I was in the 50s when I taught it. But I think maybe I could do it.
Oh.
I'm going to try anyway.
Good. Good for you. Well, what I'm going to do is come back and we've sorted pictures in file folders according to, these are all Brian and...
prodigious job, wasn't it?
Oh, it's not done yet, because what we're going to do is get back together with
Alan's
you.
doing more than his share. He's taken all those pictures and he's going to work them out and tidy them up and everything.
We've tried to fit people together. We have certain names. For example, the Overstreets, there's a few pictures of them.
Oh, I'm glad.
But most of them are, we have a big miscellaneous stack.
Yes.
I'll have to ask you who they are.
Yes. Some we'll have to throw away that really,
Yeah.
we don't know them anymore, and say
Yeah.
children or something, and isn't too interesting now.
Yeah.
They're not too interesting now.
So combined with a kind of a genealogical chart,
Yes.
I can fit things together, because some of the pictures on the back will say Mary's friend, somebody, and then we have to figure out now who's Mary, you know, and we have to
Yes, yes, yeah.
drop it into some kind of a category.
We weren't too good about writing on them either. Some people always write on them,
Yeah.
we should have, we didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know, we were careless about that.
Well, that's okay. We'll get it done.
You should see Marilyn's pictures. She has about, she must have about 10 books, everything written underneath of every picture.
Well, that's Janice you're probably thinking of.
No, I'm thinking of Marilyn.
Oh, well, Janice
may too, but
Janice
Marilyn
is
has
very
also.
good. Very good.
Yeah,
Uh, So
we never
pictures.
did that, we just never got to that.
Yeah. Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll end up here. This has been a conversation with Grammy, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, nobody's ever asked me so much about my life before.
Well, there's a lot of questions, but I haven't